Hey everybody, welcome to Rock and Pop Mandolin, R.E.M, your destination for learning classic rock songs on this wonderful little instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to look at a specific mandolin song lesson today. Instead, we're going to examine what I call the top 5 classic rock and pop mandolin songs of all time. That's right, songs featuring the mandolin. On this website so far, I've featured a number of songs that we've transposed from guitar to mandolin, or maybe from piano to mandolin, but today we're going to look at specifically songs that featured the mando. Now, of course, this list is a top 5 that I've put together. It's very subjective. It's my favorite mandolin songs. Your list might be completely different. You might have many other songs that I've never even heard that are awesome mandolin songs or mandolin hits. But I'm going to give you my top 5 in this video, and I hope you enjoy them. And I'll take a specific look at each song on the mando. Longer lessons, complete lessons for each of these songs will follow in the future. Today I'll just be showing snippets of each track, but hopefully you'll get an idea on what the songs are all about. So without waiting any longer, let's take a look at the top 5 classic rock and pop songs featuring mandolin. Number 5 is Going to California by Led Zeppelin, a great track that comes from the 1971 album Led Zeppelin 4, perhaps their finest album, or at least their most popular album, because it also contained tracks like Stairway to Heaven. This song is very impressive, the mandolin work on this track done by John Paul Jones, the bass player and keyboard player normally with Led Zeppelin. The cool thing about this band is they actually had not one but 2 guys that played the mando, John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page. This one was played by John Paul Jones, and it's a wonderful little mandolin solo, mandolin track in the key of D. Going to California by Led Zeppelin, number 5 on my top 5 list of the best classic rock and pop mandolin songs of all time. All right, and now we're going to number 4 on my top 5 list of classic rock and pop mandolin songs. This one is called Boat on the River, and it's by a band called Styx, who were very popular in the US and, well, all over the world, I guess, in the 70s and 80s. The introduction goes like this. This one was, well, actually, this one was not much of a hit for them in North America, but it reached number 1 in other countries around the world, so it actually did sell some albums and singles for the band. And the background behind this song, according to Tommy Shaw, the guy who wrote the tune, was that he had never played mandolin before. He went to a music shop in Indiana. He saw a mandolin hanging on the wall and took it down. Like many guitar players, at first he was a little flummoxed by the chords. He couldn't get the normal guitar chords to work on this instrument, so he took the mandolin home and he practiced at it, and he even wrote a song, and that song turned out to be this one, Boat on the River by Styx, number 4 on my top 5 classic rock and pop mandolin songs of all time. And number 3 on my top 5 list of classic rock and pop mandolin songs is by, well, somebody who's normally known for country music, Steve Earle. But this song kind of crosses over from country into hard rock music. It's called Copperhead Road and was the title track from his, well, one of his most popular albums, Copperhead Road. And again, just like several other mandolinists on this list, Steve Earle had never played the instrument before he wrote this song. Just like Tommy Shaw and, well, another mandolinist that I will talk about in a minute, he took the mandolin home and worked on it and came up with this song, which is really, really cool and really, really simple, but very powerful and lyrically very unique. So Steve Earle's Copperhead Road is number 3 on my list of classic rock and pop mandolin tunes. And number 2 on my top 5 list of the greatest classic rock and pop mandolin songs is Maggie May by Rod Stewart, that classic from the early 1970s from his album Every Picture Tells a Story. This song is a terrific mandolin song, and while the mandolin solo near the end is very recognizable, probably anybody would recognize that song as soon as I play it for you. I'll play it for you in a minute. And the mandolin player on this track was a guy by the name of Ray Jackson, who was a mandolin player in a British band called Lindisfarne. I guess you could say he was somewhat obscure, I guess, unless you were in the UK and you'd heard of his band. He was so obscure to Rod Stewart that Rod didn't even name him on the album credits. He just said the mandolin part was played by some guy in some other band or something like that on the album credits for Every Picture Tells a Story. But certainly Ray Jackson's mandolin part is famous. Everybody's heard it. Everybody recognizes it instantly as the mandolin signature for Maggie May. Now, very interestingly, he only got paid a small amount of money for this song for such a recognizable part. He got something like a £15 studio fee, which was, I guess, the union rate for musicians in those days. That's all Ray Jackson got for playing such a great mandolin line, such a memorable mandolin phrase. In later years, he fought for some recognition and some money as a co-songwriter on this track, but he eventually gave up that fight and decided that, well, he was just happy enough to be known for such an iconic mandolin song. So Maggie May, featuring the mandolin of Ray Jackson, is number 2 on my top 5 list of classic rock and pop mandolin songs of all time. And number 1 on my list of top 5 mandolin rock and pop songs of all time, well, it's by R.E.M. And of course, you've heard of this one, Losing My Religion, off their 1991 album, Out of Time. One of R.E.M.'s biggest hits, one of the biggest hits ever to feature a mandolin, and it's a wonderful song. In fact, it's the song that inspired me to get a mandolin. Guitarist Peter Buck in R.E.M. was the mandolin player on this track, and just like Tommy Shaw, he had never played mandolin before. He took one home and was learning to play it and recording himself while writing this song. And he presented the music for Losing My Religion to the rest of the band. Later, they worked on it. Michael Stipe wrote the lyrics, and it became a number 1 hit for R.E.M. all around the world, really launched R.E.M. into the mainstream. Losing My Religion by R.E.M., the number 1 song on my top 5 list of classic rock and pop tunes featuring mandolin. Well, I hope you enjoyed that list of the top classic rock and pop songs of all time, the top 5 songs, anyway, my top 5. Once again, a very subjective list. These are songs that I love, maybe you've never, maybe you don't like them at all. Maybe they're not songs that you like. Maybe you've got a totally different top 5 list of classic rock and pop songs. If you do, please let me know in the credits below which songs that you would put on your top 5. Maybe I can do a second list in the future. Don't forget, I'm going to be doing complete lessons for many of these tunes in the coming weeks, including Losing My Religion and Maggie May, so please stay tuned to this channel for that. Thank you very much for watching once again, and please don't hesitate to subscribe to R.P.M. Rock and Pop Mandolin if you haven't subscribed already, and like this video if you like it as well. Thanks very much for watching Rock and Pop Mandolin.